All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we are exploring a seriously fascinating story about resilience, perception, and, well, the hidden mechanics of failure. You know, we've all heard that old cliche, everything happens for a reason. But honestly, how often do we actually buy into that when things go incredibly wrong? Let's unpack what that really looks like in the real world. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, think about a time you poured your absolute heart into something, only to watch it just fall apart right in front of you. It's a totally crushing feeling, right? You invest your time, your energy, all your hopes, and despite doing literally everything exactly right, the outcome is just a massive disaster. Keep that exact feeling in mind, because it is right where our story kicks off today.
Section 1. The Hardworking Farmer.
So our story centers on this young, relentlessly positive guy named Leo. He farmed alongside his elderly dad, and he was legendary in his community for his insane work ethic. No matter how brutal the days got, Leo had this unbreakable life philosophy. Everything happens for a good reason. He and his dad genuinely believed their only job was just to put in the sweat equity, trusting that the universe would handle the rest.
And that brings us to the immense stakes Leo was facing. This wasn't just, another routine harvest. Leo sank absolutely every penny of his savings and, frankly, every drop of his sweat into this specific crop to hit 3 huge goals: repay his dad's old debts, fix their caved-in roof, and finally give his dad a comfortable life. He literally sacrificed his own daily meals just to afford better seeds and fertilizer. He pinned his family's entire future on this one single harvest.
Section 2. When disaster strikes twice.
But then, just days before what was supposed to be this huge golden payoff, the story takes a massive nosedive. After months of grueling work, a freak storm sweeps in and completely levels the crop in minutes. Just gone. Leo is absolutely crushed, but his dad gives him a pep talk, so he grits his teeth, replants, and works even harder. And then, fate decides to test him again. A plague of insects swarms in, and boom, the second crop is totally wiped out.
This back-to-back disaster absolutely broke him. The guy who literally always smiled just completely lost his spark. And to make it all worse, while a few people tried to be nice, others started mocking him, whispering things like, "Maybe God just doesn't want you to succeed." Ouch. Those words really cut deep. Leo basically gave up on his farm and his faith in the future. Section 3. The Father's Wisdom. Now, right when Leo was on the verge of throwing in the towel forever, his dad steps in with this massive perspective shift. He tells Leo that this closed door, it isn't an ending at all. It's actually a forced redirection. It's a pivot point, pointing toward a much better path, even if it feels totally impossible to see through the current fog of disappointment. The difference in their mindset here is just fascinating. Leo's despair has him convinced he's cursed with bad luck. All he sees is a field of dead plants. But his dad? He looks at those exact same ruined crops as a mechanical trigger, a wake-up call that forces us to hit pause, critically think, learn a tough lesson, and find a brand new, vastly superior direction. So the real takeaway here is that tackling these brutal challenges head-on is basically the prerequisite for leveling up. The father explains that, hey, everyone faces hardship, but life usually saves its absolute toughest tests for the people who actually have the grit to achieve something incredible. I mean, those who don't try, sure, they don't fail, but they never succeed either.
Section 4. Finding a new path.
Armed with his dad's wisdom, the fire kind of returns to Leo's eyes, and he pulls off this dramatic pivot. He stops obsessing over what he lost and starts looking at what the market actually needs. He notices that local farmers are growing amazing produce, but they can't get it to the city market before it rots. It's a huge logistics nightmare. So he scrapes together his last few pennies, buys a bullock cart, and sets out to convince these farmers to let him transport their goods. And I absolutely love this detail from the story. On his very first day as a brand new transport entrepreneur, exactly one farmer trusted him. Literally just one. It was the tiniest, most humble beginning you could imagine. Naturally, the critics were super loud. People were literally laughing in his face, saying, if the guy couldn't even save his own crop, how is he going to take care of ours? But Leo didn't argue. He just put his head down and silenced the haters through pure, undeniable reliability. He delivered the crops on time, negotiated fair prices at the market, and handed every single honest penny right back to the farmers. Word of his insane work ethic and honesty spread like wildfire. Before long, farmers from neighboring villages were begging for his services. This tiny pivot snowballed so fast. He bought a second cart, then a third. He even started hiring unemployed guys from his own village, helping other families put food on the table. In just a few years, Leo didn't just bounce back. He built a massive transport empire that practically revolutionized the whole local agricultural economy.
Section 5. The hidden blessing.
Fast forward a few years, and Leo is standing outside his very own bustling warehouse. His dad comes up to him and drops the final, ultimate lesson. He asks Leo to think back to the sheer pain of that very first destroyed crop. If Leo had gotten exactly what he wanted that day, a perfectly successful harvest, he would have been stuck doing back-breaking labor as a struggling farmer for the rest of his life. It was actually the ruined crop that forced him to pivot and become a super successful business owner.
Leo looks at his dad, cracks a huge smile, and it finally clicks. He realizes his old catchphrase was 100% true, just not at all in the way he originally thought. The absolute worst moments of his life were literally the launch pad for his greatest success. Losing the farm wasn't some kind of cosmic punishment. It was the exact push he needed.
The big takeaway for you from this explainer is exactly this. When things don't go your way, when disaster completely wrecks your plans, do not just stop. Failure is a redirection, not a dead end. You've got to find a way to navigate the hurdle, because I guarantee you a massive opportunity is hiding right behind it, just waiting for you to make that pivot.
So, I want to leave you with this to chew on today. Take a hard look at the setbacks you're dealing with right now. Ask yourself, what closed door in your life is actually leading you to a much better path? Keep analyzing those challenges, keep hunting for those hidden blessings, and whatever you do, never stop moving forward.